What up, virtual people? Welcome to episode 99 of VCR Redux, where we take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2023. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always by my co-host with the most, film professor Ian Klink.
How you doing, everybody?
And we have two radical guests on the show tonight. First up, he's the host of I'm Still Fabulous with Bobby Master, whose Q&A panel with Felissa Rose is available on YouTube now. Bobby Master's back on the show.
Hey!
Hey.
And rounding out this righteous crew, coming to you all the way from the West Coast, where she runs an audio and post-production studio, has produced dozens of special edition DVDs and Blu-rays, and co-hosts the Spooky Picture Show podcast. The trailer for her sleepaway camp, that's right. The trailer for her sleepaway camp documentary is finally available on YouTube now. Melanie Mullen is back on the show.
Hey!
Buddy.
Thank you so much for coming back. We are here today to get a sugar high, to say no more, Monet more, and to tell Rexy that he's so sexy. That's right, folks. This world needs Empire Records 2 Generation Rex, and we're here to give it to you. But before you tell me that the Pixies have better bass lines than Primus, we need to talk about how Empire Records came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that includes everyone watching in the live chat as well. So Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS. Hit us up in the chat and let us know how Empire Records came into your lives. And before I ask our guests how they first watched Empire Records, I do want to let everyone in the Philly area know that if you're at all an Empire Records fan, you need to get down to the South Street Art Mart on April 8th on Rex Manning Day. We're talking live music, bands, street closing. Streets are going to be closed. It's going to be epic. We're going to damn the man and save the Empire. You got to be there. Now, back to VCR business. Melanie, do you remember the first time you watched Empire Records? I'm guessing not, based on our previous conversation.
No, I don't. But it was probably on VHS. If I had to guess, I think I was 7 when it came out. So yeah. So
we're old.
So I probably saw it on video or maybe on cable. I honestly couldn't tell you. I didn't see it at the movies, I can tell you that.
Well, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, and there's definitely no wrong way to discover Empire Records.
If you're eating Reese's from a porta potty, yeah, that's wrong.
All right. Well, you just had to do it, didn't you? You had to ruin the Reese's.
You don't just
the world knew not of such
thinking
disgust.
Of the consequences of what you say, sir. Like
this VCR,
we're responsible for our audience, and you cannot just throw that stuff out here.
Okay, so maybe there's a couple wrong ways to eat a Reese's, but there's no wrong way to watch Empire Records. Bobby, do you remember the first time you discovered this masterpiece of a film?
I mean, I'd always seen the DVD at the store and stuff, but I'm kind of a late bloomer. I didn't see it up until fairly recently.
Really?
On streaming platform in the last 5 years, but
oh my god,
I know it's terrible, but I'm making up for lost times. It is one of my favorite movies now.
All right, fair enough.
Lost times.
It's funny. We've talked about this movie so many times. I had no idea that you didn't discover it as a kid, much like I did, or I imagine everyone sees this when they're 12 years old, like I was. But
I mean, I wish I did. I wish that I did because I'd always loved that idea, of working in a music store and just basically hanging out. It looked like me.
This movie and High Fidelity really sell that as the lifestyle choice that I wish I had made.
Pink. Don't forget about Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink too, yes. But to be fair, I mean, I guess you could say that about Empire Records. It just seemed more like a high school job for Andy. It seemed like it was kind of like a life job for AJ and Corey and all the cast of Empire. But we'll get down to the nitty gritty and say it again.
I was talking about Annie Potts.
Oh, right. But didn't Andy work there too?
Yeah, she did. But we're trailing from the subject.
That's true. I always thought Annie Potts owned the record store when I watched Pretty in Pink, but
she did. She owned it.
Right. Yeah.
I was I thought that was her store. Yeah.
So make her the Joe, I guess, of that. That's an interesting. Maybe that's something to explore when we get to
getting off the couch, Joe.
Yeah. All right, Ian.
Fishing with me, Joe.
How old is young Ian in Iowa discovering Empire Records?
I'm the same age, probably 12.
12-ish.
what I remember is, I know we talk about HBO a lot, but you know what we don't talk about is Stars. Now, this played on Stars around when Stars first came out as a
Okay.
network.
Yeah, I remember when like 98-ish, maybe
Yeah, like so Stars.
97.
So that's where I remember seeing Empire Records, and I'll be honest, the thing about this movie though, and it's funny that Bobby has a poster in his background, is this is always a double bill with Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
Like if I watch Dazed and Confused, I want to watch Empire Records. I don't know why.
Well, I think they are maybe two of
the
Oh.
actor in common.
I
they
think
do have a
follow-
couple.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, isn't it? Yeah, she.
Rory Cochran plays Slater and he plays Lucas in
That's what
Empire
it is.
Records.
So it's like this is almost like our version in the '90s of the Brat Pack, in a weird way.
for
These
sure.
two movies.
Yeah.
But
This
yeah,
is-
both of these movies have like people who eventually blew up, like box office like stars.
Liv Tyler,
but-
Ben Affleck, Renee Zellweger, yeah.
Yeah, but like Dazed and Confused and Empire Records are like both like one of the first things that all of these people have like been in, you know. They were all just starting out in
Yeah.
their careers.
And ironically, Renee Zellweger has a teeny tiny role in Dazed and Confused. She's an out of focus character that walks through the lens in like the foreground. So and if you listen to the commentary, Richard Linklater points it out. He's like, "That's Renee Zellweger right there. Walk by the screen." And it's like, "Oh wow." That's
Why
crazy.
did I think though it was Chasing Amy? Why did
Chasing
I always
Amy?
think she was chasing the actress Joey?
Joey Lawrence.
Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, I always thought that she was that man.
Joey Lauren
I-
Adams
yeah.
is in Dazed and Confused.
In Dazed and Confused, yeah.
See, that's
she's
what
in-
I always think. Yeah, I never think that's Renee Zellweger. That's
Not. Oh, in this movie, you don't think it's
in this
Renee
one, yeah.
Zellweger.
But that's I always
Oh,
that's what
oh.
I'm saying. Like that's why it's a double bill for me. It's like I always want to watch them back to back, and I want to say that's how I saw Dazed and Confused too. It was on Stars, and I want to say like these
Quite
would
possible.
always play kind of back to back, but
I mean, I think with those two movies, you're talking about the best that 90s teen movies have to offer. I mean, there's some other great ones, but I mean, I think maybe I'm forgetting an obvious one or something, but I feel like that's the best of the best right there for the 90s. Dazed and Confused and Empire Records. There's some other great ones, you know, Can't Hardly Wait, She's All That, 10 Things I Hate About You. There's some good ones. You know, I love Don't Tell Mom. It's a great teen movie. But I think for like teen dramedy, coming of age stories, these are, you know, this is about as good as it gets. You know, the 90s, they had those, you know, they didn't have as many as the 80s, but the ones they did, like Empire, and
they work. And the reason I was there's you know, I teach this to my students. You know, there's not every script has to have a plot, and I'm not saying that this movie doesn't have a plot, but it's like American Graffiti, Dazed and Confused, Empire Records. They're not
It's all
plot
day
driven.
in the life. It's all just a day in the life, you know.
Yeah, it's
the
just
whole-
a day in the
Yeah.
life. This is where it's
Yeah.
at. This is what's happening, and I actually think those are some really good films out there. So I always tell my students, like, you watch these movies, you don't have to always have this driven thing. It can just be, as Bobby's you're saying, like just a day in the life, and it works. You know, it doesn't have to be this. Oh, this person's, you know, even though they do that where it's like this person's with that person, but it's not the main focus. It's like everybody is a focus of these movies. So again, that's kind of why they're always like they're kind of interchangeable to me. When you know, and I love that about these movies. But yeah,
I could definitely see that. So I'll get to my first time with Empire Records in a sec, but of course I do want to see what everyone in the chat is saying. Looks like we've got Miyagi Do Forever, Monica Thyman, Alex Bonafonte, Mikey Riffraff, Oscar Toronzo, Angie Saunders, the mashup genius herself. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Brad as well. Thank you for tuning in. So Mikey saw this on VHS, rented it from the local Tape Tavern. That sounds like a cool place.
Tape
Angie,
Tavern.
That just
sounds
sounds
fun.
like the place to be if you're, you know, tape and tavern and, you know, alcohol and tape. It sounds like my childhood. Alcohol and VHS.
That sounds like
Andrew
your
Saunders.
Tuesday. Like what are we
Yeah,
talking
right.
about?
Especially with this voice, right? In all my years. So Angie Saunders, VHS as always. Oscar Toronzo, love this movie, typical 90s. It's got all the babes and the great music. The orange apron scene with Renee Zellweger and the drum scene in The Office. Loved everything about it, and especially Liv Tyler. Angie Saunders, yes, and she got that kid who was stealing. Oh, that's a great scene. Of
I
course,
want money.
we'll unpack Brandon Sexton's role as Warren Beatty. Oh, VHS, Miyagi-Do forever. VHS was good till the tape broke in the VCR. Oh, we've
Yep.
all felt that pain. If you grew up and lived through the 90s, some tape broke in your VCR. And it was never a tape that you didn't give a shit about. It was always a tape that you loved, or a tape that like you would get in trouble if your parents saw this coming out of the VCR. The only two tapes that break in the VCR, folks.
But ET never broke.
ET was that strong Maxell tape. It was
That
standard
damn
with
thing couldn't break for nothing. You could put that under your truck, that tape would still be intact.
you could melt that on the sun and it would be totally fine. So my first time, this is one where I remember like too many details, like so many details about watching this for the first time, because I was in 7th grade and it was a Saturday, night, and I had a date this night, particular day. And I called this girl, shout out to Josie Hernandez, wherever you are in the world. And like she wasn't there, and I thought I was getting blown off. I was like, oh no, like I'm getting stood up. And then I'm like channel surfing and I come across this movie on HBO, and I'm like, the longer I'm getting into the movie, the less I'm caring that I think I'm going to get stood up this day. Any rate, by the end of the movie, I'm like hoping she doesn't call, right? So I fall in love with this movie. It's a perfect film, and it totally cures my achy breaky heart. And then what happens? Of course, this girl calls, and we have a date at Roxy Wheels. Yes, I know I'm going to bring rollerblading into this because it was the fucking 90s. And that's what you would do when you were 12 years old and you would go on a fucking date. You'd go roller skate, rollerblade in a circle and hold hands and shit. And I remember specifically getting my first, consensual smooch, because my first smooch was stolen from me, and it wasn't, I had no consent in the case, but this was finally, I kissed a girl that I wanted to kiss. And it's just one of those weird coming of age days for me to watch a coming of age movie. But shout out to the great Roxy Wheels in Carpentersville, Illinois, which is sadly no longer with us, I'm sure. I'm just guessing. It was also near the Scrap Skate Park where I used to cut my teeth thinking I was Mitchell Goosen doing my soul grinds with my K2 fatties. But all right, enough rollerblading references until Sean Gold gives his pitches. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a perfect movie. And I think it has one of those, like I say about movies like Ninja Turtles, right? You're one of the 4 Ninja Turtles, right? But Empire Records is one of those rare movies where you can see a little bit of yourself in every character, at least I can. The older I get, the more I feel like Joe, Anthony LaPaglia's character. I sure felt like a Lucas growing up, like an oddball. Some days you felt like silly and drugged out like Mark or Eddie, and some days you were the romantic like AJ. You can identify with the character, an overachiever like Corey. There's a little bit of something for everybody, and I think it's just one of those, like, we captured lightning in a bottle with this cast, and Alan Moyle directed the shit out of it. It's a great script. There's a lot of real life in it. It's written by someone who worked at Tower Records, which, again, if you want to hear more about the writer Carol Heikkinen, listen to Taped Off TV podcast episode with her. It's fantastic. And just listen to Taped Off TV podcast anyways, because it is fantastic. But I don't know. That's my story of how this movie came into my life. It's,
did any of you have a record store?
Oh, yeah, Record City in Lake Zurich, Illinois, and the great Record Breakers in South Barrington.
I had Best Buy at Walmart. That's where man. But I'll be honest, like, my store was Goodwill. Like, and I know this is gonna sound, I'm a hipster before hipster was a thing, but I was collecting records, in 1997. I was going to Goodwill when it was like 25 cents a record. I got Thriller, at Goodwill.
Oh,
I got, all that stuff. But that's where I collected my music was at Goodwill. So I never had the Empire Records experience.
There was a place, and that was Record Breakers, and they had like just walls and walls of VHS bootlegs with like home printed covers and shit like that. But like these incredible concert tapes and live bootlegs, all kinds of cool shit. You could listen to anything before you bought it. It was definitely that, it had that aura of that kind of place. And Record City in Lake Zurich, Illinois was cool too. It was just a kind of a smaller mom and pop record shop, nothing fancy, but I definitely bought my first album there, which I believe was the soundtrack to Wayne's World. So my nerd status was cut very young. I think I was like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 maybe when I bought that record. So
Feed my Frankenstein.
yeah, and my
That
soundtrack
song gets no
obsession.
respect in this world.
Well, no, it gets plenty of respect. The song that gets no respect is Teenage Frankenstein from Friday 6.
Fair.
Which is also a chance for me to plug my interview with Tom McLaughlin. Will be hitting YouTube soon, director of Friday 6, who was a fucking great guy, by the way. Awesome dude. Any rate, look out for that on Fandom Spotlight channel. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick a moment in this movie that is my favorite because there are so many great and memorable moments. It's, the movie is almost like a Swiss watch. It's really timed perfectly to me, and there's no fluff, there's no dragging parts. Like, they cut the shit out of it, they shot the shit out of it, they casted the shit out of it, they acted the shit out of it. I mean, I don't know, what more do you want out of a movie? And the soundtrack kicks fucking ass. I'm sorry, but it's a damn near perfect, if not entirely perfect soundtrack. But the question is, everyone's probably going to have a different favorite soundtrack song. So I'm curious for everyone on the panel here, what if first song that comes to mind, what's your favorite Empire Records soundtrack jam?
What's the song that the Cranberries did? I forgot.
Is that
How?
Hang on.
I'm terrible with song
forgot
titles.
The Cranberry song is in it, but I also like
the Cranberries one.
The Romeo and Juliet song.
Well, that was great, and everybody stole that from them. Like, there's a million other movies that play that song in the same context in the 90s, but they all did it after Empire Records did. So it's hard to not pick that one. I agree. What were you saying, Melanie?
No, he was asking what the song by the Cranberries was called. It was called How.
Oh,
okay.
That was it. I know it sounds weird.
I'm a big fan of Plowed by Sponge.
Oh, okay. Which one is that? Because again, I'm terrible with the titles.
The one near the end.
Oh, is it the one they dance to on the roof?
Well, they're like setting up the
the second to last song, right before. Okay, yeah, those two last songs are amazing. And again, also hard to not pick that. Ian, do you have a favorite song from the soundtrack?
Here's the problem. It's not a song, it's a moment in a song. And I'm gonna be the weirdest person on the planet, but the band that's singing on the roof, I always remember this line, but
Sugar High, yeah.
Well, okay, is it
Coyote
Sugar High?
Shivers.
Is that the song? But it's
Sugar High is the song, Coyote Shivers.
It's the moment where he says, "Life's a bowl of cherries butts," and it's like that. He says it just like that. And I always laugh at that. It's like, "Life's a bowl of cherries butt."
And I will say, it's I will say it's totally the dork in me, but I get goosebumps every time Renee Zellweger takes the lead, and starts singing her verse in Sugar High. I'm like, oh man, like 90s dorky me is happy. Like, I love this moment.
I hope
I'm
you
so glad I
hug
put this
yourself
on.
when you see that too.
I pretty much do. I'm just like, oh Lord, I'm getting verklempt here. This is great. I'm getting the goosebumps.
But I mean, you can't pass up, Mona Moore though. I mean,
I was gonna say, right? So that might be my favorite because it's written just for the movie. It's a fake song that didn't exist out of nowhere. And I was always thinking about, like, okay, that's a mix of George Michael's and this and that, and it's a mix of this and that, and then Wham and some of this and some of that. And then it hit me today. I was like, oh my God, no, it's not. It's a fucking Robert Palmer song. It's exactly a perfectly written song for Robert Palmer. And it's I almost feel like it's a song he passed on or something, or a song he ghost wrote for, because it just sounds exactly like, Addicted to Love or Simply Irresistible. It would totally be sung by Robert Palmer. But it's a great song.
I watch Grease too, and I'm in camp. Grease 2 is okay. I know that's going to be debatable. I get it. It's not the worst musical ever made. That belongs to The Sound of Music.
What did you say, Melanie?
Not going to discuss Grease 2.
We're not going to discuss Grease 2. Melanie is not in the market for a cool rider.
Doing it in the bowling alley? Come on. Genius. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. When I watch Grease 2, though, the only reason I bring it up is because I go, hey, that's Rex Manning.
Yeah, Maxwell Caulfield.
That's whenever I see Max Caulfield, I'm always like, that's Rex Manning.
Oh, well, that's true. So I'm curious. And again, if I didn't say this, but everyone in the live chat, if you have a favorite soundtrack song, a favorite line, a favorite moment, now is the time. I for a favorite moment, God, that's tough.
This is off topic, but I really do think that Debbie Mazar can rock a red pixie cut really well.
Oh, I love Debbie. I don't know if it's Mazar or Mazar. I think I'm from the Midwest, so I've probably been saying it wrong, Mazar the whole time, but maybe it's Mazar. I don't know.
Debbie, if you're watching, dial in.
And
Correct
come
us.
on VCR. We'll do a Trees Lounge episode, Debbie. It's one of my favorites. You're all like, what the hell is Trees Lounge?
Steve
It's
Buscemi.
Chloe's second film, and
Oh, Bobby, I'm impressed. Wow. I'm impressed.
Are you talking about Steve Buscemi one, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course
Yeah,
I am.
okay.
And Anthony LaPaglia. Yeah, connection to Empire Records there. So let's see what people are saying in the live chat. E.T. was the first tape my mom bought, says Mikey Riff Raff. I think if you lived through the 80s and you had a VCR, you just had E.T. Like that green flap tape. It was in every house I was ever in the 1980s, I swear. Let's see. Miyagi Do just love tuning into this awesome show every week. Thank you so much, Miyagi Do. We love having you. Mikey Riff Raff says VHS and beer was awesome. Kyle 2.0, I broke my original TMNT tape in the VCR. See again, proving my theory. It's only tapes that you love or am embarrassed by. Doombot says, if you're doing Empire Records, can we do Reality Bites next? Thank you for the request, Doombot. I would love to do a Reality Bites episode. I would love to do a whole like month of just deep 90s stuff. So if that's something you guys want,
the reality would bite that we actually have to do Reality Bites. But
we could do. Are you kidding me? We could do Reality Bites. We could do Threesome. We could do With Honors. There's so many great 90s movies that
It's actually funny that they say that, because I actually, before I went back and watched Empire Records today, I double checked my chat with you to make sure that we hadn't actually discussed Reality Bites. I like had to think about it. I'm like, wait, did he say Empire Records or did he say we were talking about Reality Bites?
Oh man, I would love to do a Reality Bites episode. I remember I specifically bought that and Threesome on Blu-ray because I was feeling very 90s nostalgic one day, and a friend came over and like they were both sitting out on my coffee table, and he looks at him and goes, "You have the worst taste in movies of anyone I've ever known." And I'm like, we're not even.
Threesome is actually not a good movie, but
it's not. But
discuss it.
Threesome is a totally written by someone who has no idea what like one-way sex is like, let alone three-way sex. Who
was in Threesome? What was that?
The great Josh
Robert Downey Jr.
No, it's Josh Charles.
Stephen Baldwin.
Thank you.
Well, that will do it right there. That's worth the ticket price there. Biodome himself. Okay.
You're thinking of Two Guys and a Girl, Ian. That's the Robert Downey Jr., Heather Graham, and
that's okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
What now that we all say, what is with the 90s of people being in a store depressed talking to each other? Like that is the theme of some 90s movies.
Hey, you know,
very depressing.
The 90s were a depressing time. Yeah. And the reason, speaking of depressing 90s, the reason Rex Manning Day is April 8th is because that not only is I think that the release date of the movie, but it's also the date that Kurt Cobain was found. So it's a way of kind of honoring him because they consider him, of course, the mascot of the 90s. But there's some love for Guar in the chat as far as the soundtrack goes, of course.
Mark,
there is a pitch already.
You're stoned, Mark.
I will read that pitch very soon, Alex, when we get to the half-hour mark. That's pitch time. Gold's Code is mocking Ian because he's like, Ian likes Grease too, but he hates Airborne.
Yes, I stand by every sentence, like every like syllable of your sentence you just said. I stand by every like inch of it.
Oh man, there is already some. Yeah, there's.
I can't be that, Bobby. You got to be on my side on this one. Come on, Grease 2 is good, right? Like, come on.
There are parts of it that I enjoy, but I just don't understand why Frenchie disappears out of nowhere for no explained reason.
First of all, the great Didi Khan is the most redeemable factor of Grease 2, and you're right, she is not in it enough for the movie to
Um,
be fully redeemable. I
Can we
also
all
love
just
Adrian
agree the
Zemed, though.
hero of Grease and Grease 2 is Eddie Deason, and there's period
No,
at the end of that. I'm done.
no. Just no. The what Grease 2 should have been is it should have been about Adrian Zemed. And I love Maxwell Caulfield, but we've spent too much time talking about Grease 2 already, much to Melanie's chagrin. I do want to steer the ship back towards Empire Records if we can.
No.
Favorite characters before we pitch. Who's your favorite character in Empire Records?
They're
Not
all
everybody
so
at once.
good, man.
Oh man, I am just
His
getting stunned
when he
silence here.
who is this guy again? I'm bad with the names.
Lucas.
Lucas,
Yeah,
when
like-
Lucas does the couch bit, I am sorry. I do that with my sister all the time. We'll do that bit. It's like getting off the couch, Joe. I'm taking my foot off the couch, Joe. Taking the
Delete the
cushion with me,
couch.
Joe.
Yeah, but not the whole couch. All right, fair enough. A Lucas fan, Bobby.
I don't know. There's so many good like redeemable qualities about all of the characters, you know. I love the couch bit too. That is really funny. I do like I mentioned Debbie Mazar already, but like we kind of like that's kind of like my job in a sense when we do these conventions. Like she's the celebrity escort,
Yeah.
I'm the celebrity escort, so I like relate to her character in a sense of seeing them away from the fans as well, and like see, you know what I mean?
It's true. I had never thought of it like that, but that's a very good point. Melanie, do you have a favorite character?
I mean, I would second Lucas. I think he's very funny. I think he probably has the most, I guess, dimension to him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then
I
just
mean, he literally gets to break the fourth dimension, you know.
right. Well, yeah, and then also just how like, he loses all the money in Atlantic City and he still just like shows up and is like, yeah, money's gone. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, the
And
way he plays it, like it's
Yeah,
recirculating,
he doesn't
Joe.
get fired. He doesn't like
Yeah, talk about a laid back
Yeah.
boss. Like, and then Warren shoplifting. They're
Yeah.
like hanging out with him while like the
Yeah.
police. Like, what the?
I will say, and I love the gluing of the quarters down too, and Warren complaining about that. And that's one of my probably my favorite line in the movie. I don't feel the need to explain my art to you, Warren. And that's one I've used on, just probably more than anything else in life. But there's one line that it's like the weird line. My favorite line is usually the weird line. And when Warren's voice is cracking on the way out, I'll be back and you'll be sorry. And then fucking AJ does this like Joe Pesci voice, like, you'll be sorry. I can't do it because my voice is so hoarse right now. But you know what I'm talking about? He sounds like a Joe Pesci character or something, the way he says, "Ooh, Joe, you'll be sorry." And I don't know why, but that always sticks out to me as like one of my favorite stupid little moments. But it's interesting, bring up the shoplifting moment, because that's right what the couch moment leads into. And this whole movie's like that. Like every little moment perfectly leads into the next moment, which is amazing when you think about this movie was massively cut down. It's originally supposed to take place over 2 days. It was shot to take place over 2 days. They edited it down
was it
to
really?
taking place over one. Yeah. There's a
Okay.
lot
So,
of
like,
weird
I
trimming that
said,
went on
right?
behind the scenes. Apparently, Warren Beatty has a sister, and we don't even know because she's cut completely from the film. So I do want to go back and rewatch all those deleted scenes. I don't know how much of them are on the DVD and the Blu-ray, but I do have all the home video versions of this. It's one of the first movies I learned to make my own tape copies of from Blockbuster.
Yes. Two
It's just such a
VHSs.
yeah, well, no, I used a VHS camcorder fed through a video clarifier, and then the mono doubled to stereo. So I faked stereo. Yeah, it was real, dude. It was real bonkers. It was fucking beat. But I think VHS camcorders bypassed macrovision protection, so that's probably why I use that. A good old RCA VHS camcorder. But
That's a lot of technology. That's
it
a lot of
is. But hey, dude, I thought I was like I thought it was so state of the art back in the day doing that. And then yeah, half the copies would look and sound like shit, but hey, what are you gonna do? It was VHS. It was the life. It's the life maybe it wasn't the life we chose, but it was the only one we had. So we're almost at pitch time. Are there, any other favorite moments or anything before we get to the sequel talk here?
I like when the boss goes in the back and starts playing the drums, and then they
Yeah.
start like doing air guitar outside the door, and
Oh
then
yeah.
Warren plays them too.
It is just so ridiculous and awesome and great. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a million. God, it's like
I
every
cannot think. Every time I see Guar, though, I always think of this movie. Like to the
oh
point
yeah,
where
of course.
I don't know why, but that was my exposure to Guar. It wasn't like on MTV or anything. It was watching Empire Records.
So, all right, before we get to the pitch stuff, there's some talk. Miyagi-Do says I can even clean my own VCR heads when I took my VCRs apart to fix stuck tapes. Mikey Riffraff says ruined by a Baldwin,
That's
typical
dedication.
in reference to threesome, of course. A lot of fuck you, Ian, for liking Grease 2, though, in the chat. I'm just gonna call it like it is. Grease 2 sucks. Grease 2.
Wait.
You
Hold on. Let me find the right face for how much I care. Oops. Like,
Well, I agree. I love Grease too, but it does suck. You got to admit it. It's like the both can be possible at the same time. You can love something and it can suck.
oh, I mean, Pauly Shore doing Hamlet would suck. I'd still want to watch it.
Fair point. Fair point. You're
Like,
stumping us
dang,
all
like,
today, Ian.
what
Gold's
is wrong
Code
with this
says, "What's
world?
with today?" Miyagi Do Forever says, "I heard there was going to be a Grease 3. Is it true, guys? I don't know, but if you want that on VCR, don't be afraid to leave a comment on the video outside the live chat. Of course, best way to get us to do an episode is to leave comments on the video after it's no longer live." Oscar Tronzo,
I mean,
speaking
I
to
won't
that,
read it, but I'm just
I
joking.
will. Oscar Tronzo says, yes, do a 90s month, please. Gold's Code says Lucas is the man, but Warren Beatty is also dope. Rex Manning steals the show. Definitely have to agree.
Hope you
Let's
all
see.
fade away.
Gold's Code with the quote of the day, I think. I don't feel the need to explain Airborne to you, Ian. Be still my heart.
You don't. Please don't explain it to me. I don't want to ever be explained Airborne ever again.
One bit of love for Grease 2 in there. Where is it? I just lost it. Michelle was the best in Grease 2. Love her singing voice from Miyagi Do Forever. So you got someone in your corner, Ian.
Melanie, you're gonna watch it tonight. I know you are. You're gonna be like, I don't want to watch this. Oh,
no,
oops,
she is
click.
not a fucking chance. Not even if she got the laser disc for free.
Many times. And you know what? Within the last few years, I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've seen Grease 2. I'm gonna rewatch it just to see if maybe I was being hard. From that opening number, I was like,
nope. Click.
being too hard on that film. It is the music is just god awful. Especially the bowling song. Oh my god.
Oh, the best. Oh, the best.
Ian, no way. I'm sorry.
The best.
I gotta agree with Melanie here. The music is just dreadful. That's the thing about Grease 2 is the music is so dreadful. It's the story. The story doesn't bother me. What's up?
I love because I mean I love Grease.
Dude, it's the gold standard. It's the gold fucking standard.
It's just oh my god.
You know what I found out this week? Do you know Michael Biehn from Terminator is in Grease?
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
He's in the basketball scene when Travolta is doing all the.
He's one of the fucking basketball players?
He's one of the basketball players.
Holy shit.
Terminator. Kyle Reese himself is in Grease.
Wow. That's fucking awesome.
That's beautiful.
Love Michael Biehn. Met him a couple times. He was really cool, very gracious with his time. But there are pitches. So let's see what they're saying in the live chat here. Alex Bonafonte has a pitch. Liv Tyler thrives as store manager years after the merger, but now corporate wants to venture into the extreme sporting goods. Mitchell Goosens and the rest of the crew join and mesh well. Meanwhile, where does that continue? NASA needs a crew of great rollerbladers to skate the Devil's asteroid and plant the nuke on Devil's space tooth. This summer, Airborne Armageddon Records. Wow. Alex Bonafonte, sir, you get like a golden award because that is 3 levels of mashing up in one pitch. And sir, we are not worthy. That is just outstanding. I have no idea how the fuck many lawyers you would need to get all the rights to all those things together. But God bless you, sir, for pitching that because I gotta tell you, I love a crappy space movie, even though I hate Armageddon, but you just made me love something about a movie that I hate, and that's a very rare and special talent, sir. So
I
you
just
just
want to, for the record, we are not sponsored by Airborne. No producers of that piece of turd has ever given us any money towards this show. Probably because they didn't make any money off of that piece of turd, and nobody will ever make money off that piece of turd. So I just want to state for the record. That's all. So
Ian went on his anti-airborne rant. We have to allow him to do such. Now I have to go with my I love Airborne, it's the greatest thing ever, and check out Airborne Movie Experience this summer in Cincinnati. Yes, Cincinnati, never been done before. Follow Airborne Movie Experience on Instagram to learn more. Back to
stayed
Empire
in one of the
Records.
dirtiest hotel once in Cincinnati, Ohio. It makes sense.
Well,
So
it's no Australia, but it can be pretty styling when the goose is on the wave.
Australia,
More
that's a
pitches,
good
though.
movie. Airborne
Gold's
is not.
Code.
Anyway,
Sean Gold, our good friend Sean Gold of Gold's Code, has a pitch.
here we
Pitch.
go.
Rex Manning is a washed-up, no-talent jabroni who has one chance to get his respect back. A no-holds-barred race down Devil's Mountain with Mitchell and the crew. You thought you were safe, Ian. You thought you were safe, and they pulled you back into Airborne land. Okay, let's see, though. Gold's Code has another pitch. Let's see if Ian can stay safe. Warren Beatty lets his crazy friends come into the store, which includes Snake. Snake ends up getting a job, only to be harassed by the preps, leading to a new race. I just love this show. I want to do this show forever. Every week we talk about Airborne and another great movie at the same time. We should be sponsored by Airborne. Warner Archive, hit us up. We are open for sponsorship. Get us now while we're cheap.
We are cheap.
Also in the chat, people are asking, what episode of VCR Redux is this? This is 99, folks. That's right. 99 of these motherfuckers. So next week is going to be a very special episode 100. Thank you for asking, whoever you are. Amy Wilkins says Renee Zellweger becomes a huge rock star after footage from the fundraiser gets sent around to music execs. She ends up taking the profits from her first record to invest in the store. That is a very heartwarming pitch, Amy. Thank you so much. And I think that is your friend. Now, because I recognize that name, I'm like, where did I read this name? You pitched that on Facebook today. So thank you so much for tuning in. That is outstanding of you. I love that pitch. Gold's Code has another one. Yeah. Rex Manning is rediscovered by a TikTok influencer and becomes a sensation. Now he has to overcome his demons and doubts to take to the stage once again and say no more. More. Oh, gosh. I love that.
That one's not bad.
I really love that. Alex Bonafonte says he loves you, Ian, by the way.
The love is given right back.
Okay. Normally we're like begging to get like 2 or 3, one or 2 little pitches in the audience chat, but there's actually some really great stuff to work with here. You can actually probably mix most of these together. I don't think they're too binary, but except for, first of all, the Rex Manning movie is just fantastic. And I usually favor spin-offs more than sequels. Because you have a lot more freedom in a spinoff than you do in a sequel. And you're free to be your own movie if it's a spinoff. And like the Rex Manning story, fuck, dude, I would love that. The Rise, Fall, and Rise Again. Like Walk Hard, the story of Rex Manning. Oof.
Oh, jeez.
Just take my money. I love Maxwell Caulfield. I love Debbie Mazar or Mazer, or however you say it.
Does he end up with Michelle Griffith?
Michelle Griffith?
Wait,
Michelle Pfeiffer? God,
yeah, that one.
You with your name. Michelle Griffith. That's a good one. That's Del Griffith's wife from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Did I just mix Melanie Griffith and Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes, you definitely did. You Antonio Johnson bastard, you.
Right?
Wow. So these are actually really great pitches, though. I thought Rex Manning was kind of the key, honestly, to figuring out what happens. Because, like, as always, it's been 30 years. That's the biggest challenge, right? You are now picking up with these teenage characters when they're 47 instead of 17-ish, That's kind of tough. And, it hasn't been quite 30. It's all, 27, 28 years, whatever. And, yeah, some of them are huge movie stars, like Renee Zellweger and Liv Tyler. Not going to be easy to get them to come back.
Anthony won an Oscar. Like,
yeah, Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry.
You never, it's one of those things, like, you never know who you can get until you ask.
That's true too.
For instance, like, was it for New Nightmare that Wes Craven was like, oh yeah, I didn't even bother asking Johnny Depp to make a cameo, and Johnny Depp has said, he's like, yeah, if he asked, I would have done it.
All
Which
right,
is
yeah.
funny because Johnny Depp did a cameo in fucking Freddy's Dead. You know, I mean, I know that's because Rachel Talalay worked on Crybaby, but still, like, he just seems like a cool. He cameoed in 21 Jump Street, the movie, and he fucking hated that show more than anything else he ever did in his career. So, like, he seems to be like a down dude, you know. Um, but and some love in the chat for congratulations on the next week being 100 shows from Miyagi-Do Forever. Thank you,
Thank
Miyagi-Do.
you. Yes.
Appreciate you tuning in so much. And Gold's Code makes a special point with a special guest in next episode, me being Gold's Code. That is true. We're looking forward to having you bring in the comedy chops for us. So, you know, generally 30 years later, where the other character, I think it's kind of hard to determine where they would be, is Anthony LaPaglia. And apologies if I'm saying his name wrong.
That's about
When I was a kid, I thought it was LaPaglia, but that's again
Yeah,
the
well.
fucking the Midwest in me. LaPaglia, you know.
So
but
I thought.
no.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say. So I thought if you were gonna do a sequel to this, I actually think it'd be perfect on if they were to open up a new record store on Rex Manning Day, and because it's right now record stores, you know, are in. I mean, it's still in the culture to the point where though records are going out and CDs are coming back.
And cassettes, actually, cassettes are a thing again.
I know it's fascinating.
Fucking
And you
Johnny Lawrence.
You could absolutely open up Empire Records again today, and the whole movie could be about the opening day. You know, in all the case. Now,
oh, that's actually kind of delicious.
Would all of these people be in it? I don't know. I don't know where these characters. I know that Renee Zellweger could probably show up at like a cameo at the end, and I think it'd be great to have her. But you know, is this one
Renee Zellweger.
Johnny Whitworth?
This guy, yeah, is he there?
Are you pointing to Lucas? Or...
Yeah, Lucas. Is Lucas the owner? Did Lucas borrow the money and do that? I mean, Mark would be there no matter what. Mark
Ethan
would be there
is,
just for fun.
Let's assume you get everyone back. And a Debbie, I feel like we haven't even talked about Robin Tunney as Debbie. I just want to throw a shout out. Robin Tunney is amazing in this. And if you don't know who Debbie is, she's a character who shaves her head and has the fake funeral. Talk about moments and scenes that you just remember.
That was powerful.
That was great stuff.
That's the reason. Honestly, I think that's the I don't know if you guys are this good at pointing out fake hair, but she wears a wig in The Craft, which was made right after this. So I feel she probably didn't have much hair.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
During the filming of The Craft. So
that makes sense. Yeah. It would take at least a year for her to grow hair that long. Oh, that would take 2 years. Yeah, her hair's real long.
Like a year and a half probably for like hair that it was like down to here and then in
oh yeah.
The Craft, and like it was like up to here when she shaved it off.
Yeah. That's true. Good point. God, I just love everything about this movie. And the pitches are flying too in the chat still. Amy Wilkins, Rex Manning's illicit affairs are exposed, but he mounts his comeback in the Me Too era thanks to a daughter he fathered with the Say No More, Monet More, who is now an adult. Oh my gosh. Man, Amy Wilkins, thank you so much for tuning in and bringing these awesome pitches with you. Gold's Code has one as well. Pitch: Lucas is the down and out owner of the Empire, but the return of Rex Manning lifts his spirits and causes him to bring back the old crew for one last party. God, I love all these. Like, we don't have to pitch anything. This is just the audience.
No, actually, I mean, that's kind of like,
you guys are killing it.
I always call them big chill movies, which is really, it's what they are. Like the movies like Empire Record, they're just big chills. Like you're hanging.
It's a 90s teen big chill.
Yeah, it really was. And it's like, how great though is they're all coming back together for this funeral in the big chill, right? Like
I thought about that today. I was like, do we straight up big chill it? Do we have someone die? I think that's a little too, I don't know if we want to go there.
A lot. I feel like I feel like we say that a lot about movies. Like when we did Clueless, that was going to be the reason Brittany Murphy wasn't there. Is because they're
right.
I mean, for me, it would be Rex.
Well, in
Manning.
that case, if they are dead, you have to do something to acknowledge
it. To me,
it
would be Rex Manning would die. Like they're getting together.
I thought about that.
They're getting together to celebrate Rex Manning Day. Like Rex Manning died.
I personally I don't see that group of people revisiting Rex Manning after the events of the film.
Well, this is true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I agree.
To them, yeah, he's a piece of
I think
shit.
they are very much done with Rex Manning.
Yeah, I hate to say it,
Which
but
is funny
it's
that
like,
you bring that up, Melanie, because why does the internet celebrate Rex Manning Day? I think we all
he
kind
is
of
like
went over.
yeah.
It's just something fun to do, and
Yeah.
it's kind of neat that any movie can have that type of ongoing impact in reality, I think.
Yeah. Most movies come out one day and then people don't really celebrate the anniversary of the release. But this is a movie that owns one day of the calendar, Not many movies get to do that.
But yeah, you can have such good drama within that whole idea of celebrating Rex Manning Day, even though he was a piece of garbage, like that actually could have some interesting moments.
I mean, just going with the chat, the idea of Rex getting spun off into his own movie makes more sense than putting him in an Empire Records 2 with all these characters with Burko and Eddie and AJ and Deb and Corey and so
and if you were to bring him back and reunite him with those characters, it would have to be in some type of villain role.
Yeah. You're not redeeming him with those characters in the room. You know what I mean? And and let's face it, in the fucking Me Too era, you're probably not really redeeming him anyways. Just because he's kind of a sleazeball, and the fact that he punches AJ when AJ is held back, it just seals the deal on him being a piece of shit,
Oh my gosh, what if there's a Rex Manning Jr., like a Frank Sinatra Jr. situation? That could be
just someone who's even worse, someone who's just an apple from the that didn't fall far from the
he's like it's like RJ Manning.
Dex Manning,
and it's just the worst CD
but everyone calls him DM. Yo, what up, DM?
Oh, that would be that would be funny to me. So they're still celebrating Rex Manning, but that eliminates the whole
well, I think you could do something maybe that. Okay, you're right. It does keep him in the story without being there. And Dex Manning could just be this awful Machine Gun Kelly parody, just some Skrillex, mumble rap, face tattoo, white kid spoiled, privileged, gangster rapper kind of, whatever these things. I don't even really know.
Who was the guy from We're the Millers who played the son character?
Jason Sudeikis. Oh, that kid. Oh, eyebrows.
What is it?
I don't know. Them eyebrows.
I who you're talking about. I forgot.
I can't. He'd be perfect as dressing him up as a Post Malone, or even better. Well, no, you can't use James Franco because we kind of canceled James Franco, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
So. I don't know what for.
James Franco's kind of canceled, but
yeah, there's so many There's so many people that are canceled that I honestly just try to not even know why anymore. I just don't have room in my head for all this awful shit that's going down the world.
Seth Rogen as RJ Manning, and it'd be great because he is kind of the Frank Sinatra Jr. type approach. I don't singing.
That could work. You have some awful teeny bopper, a young Rex Manning, and he's younger than them, or so, Dex Manning or whatever, DM. That's got potential. Think about the record store. In reality, the record store probably would have closed in 2005, but it could be this really hip record exchange now. It could have survived.
That's what I'm saying. It would reopen now. It would work.
It would work now. It would be very hip. I don't know if it would work in a small town like it seemed to be. I know it was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is where everything I love in the 90s was shot, of course. But so I don't know if the movie takes place there, but man, I would just
it has to take place relatively close to Atlantic City because
that's true. Yeah, so it can't take place in Wilmington. That's true. He rides a motorcycle to AC, so it's probably Jersey, Pennsylvania, something like that. Even New York would be too far.
It doesn't matter where you place it, as long as it just the record store is the whole approach. And
Obviously.
honestly, you can have Anthony Apologist, like he's got basically all this. He's got a bunch of CDs and records stashed in his, in a storage unit. And he comes in at the end of the day to like stock the store, and really, and to me, the way to do it is it's not Rex Manning Day, but it's Record Store Day. Like this whole Record Store Day thing that's become,
Okay.
that's the day that they open up the new Empire Records.
That could work too. Or, it could be that Joe's barely been keeping it afloat, but now he's having health problems, and like that could be the cause. Because that's the thing, you need a cause. They have to fight something. There has to be a fundraiser kind of cause, for them to throw a party and whatever.
Damn the
save
Man
the
Part
day for
2.
someone. Yeah,
I
you
love
got to damn the man somehow. You got to save the day somehow. If you're not fighting Music Town anymore, what are you fighting? So you need to definitely create something like that. Probably an obstacle for Joe, because I think they all would band together to help out Joe. In a time of need. He was like a surrogate father to a lot of them, obviously. They were a family. Say that again?
Especially Lucas.
Oh, Lucas, you think could be?
Well, no, well, as far as like Joe being like a father to them, like he said that, Lucas
Joe
said
found me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. But he's got a warmth with, he looks out for Debbie, he talks to her, should I call, is there anything I could do? And she kind of blows it off, like, you gonna fix me, Joe? He's like, well, should I call your mom or whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, great. If you find her, let her know, give me her number or whatever. But he has a closeness with everyone. He cares for everybody, he talks to AJ about, how to tell Corey that he loves her. He talks to, Lucas is, if you're in trouble, I can, you can talk to me. He covers for Warren, who we just met. He's just a fucking great guy. I think Joe is kind of underappreciated as like one of the best movie bosses ever, too. I mean, shit, if a movie character had to be your boss, how about a guy you could steal $9,000 from or shoot up his store and he still
Joe, the boss with the heart of gold.
Yeah, there it is. But I mean, I think you could take a lot of these ideas that are in the chat and weave them into a story about helping Joe. And let's see. I see Dustin Nino of Retro Fiend in here, even though he says I've never seen this movie. Thank you for tuning in the chat, by the way. Sorry to shift gears. He just says this movie's better than American Ninja 3, which is a high compliment, folks.
Criminal.
But you can take a lot of these things that are in the chat, a lot of these pitches, and I think you could sort of mix them in. Like Renee Zellweger did become a rock star. Like that's cool as hell. Liv Tyler obviously went to Harvard and had a great life. I want to believe everyone's gone on to great lives, and they've all gone past the record store. But you got to get them back together for something. And I think you do that. What?
He didn't.
What, you don't think AJ did good at art school?
Nope.
You think he got dumped by Liv Tyler at the end of sophomore year? And Ian, always got to be the pessimist.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna pick, that's the one to say didn't have the good life.
Well, I'm sorry, but Johnny Whitworth is too goddamn handsome to have anything other than a charmed life.
She wrote
Look
a book.
at that man.
She wrote a book. He was, Mark was always a loser.
Cold.
What? Tell me that. Damn it! Tell me that guy went somewhere in life. Tell me.
Mark started Mark is he was a great. Mark's a great music teacher, damn it. He owns his own store and he teaches people to rock and to play guitar. The School of Rock with Mark. Either that or he's a hitman and everyone's marked for death. I don't know. No, I get it. Yes. Mark didn't seem to have a ton of direction in his life. He's eating pop brownies. But let's not fucking forget that Mark saved the day. It was Mark's idea to throw the party. Maybe Mark went on to become a DJ or a great event planner. That's certainly within his capability. A great music critic. He knew that Primus had the sweet bass lines. Eddie didn't know.
He videographers weddings. That's what Lucas is doing now.
There's
nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, that's the whole point.
Bartender. I pour people Bud Light for a living. I wish I videographed people's weddings. Believe me. It would be a step up.
Saying, I do agree. But if you're, to do the reality of, if you were writing the script at Empire Records, there would definitely be somebody who's just, is rough. And I honestly think his story would probably be the one that's just the roughest. It just would make sense as a screenwriter to go for him.
Right, I get it. Everyone, you don't want them all to have perfect lives, but you don't want them to have terrible lives as a fan. So, I mean, everyone has to have drama and conflict. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, in Ian's defense, I would say that he is the most uninteresting character.
Mark?
Yeah.
I guess, Eddie's a little
he
bit more
spends the whole
mysterious.
movie just really trying to find that love and all that stuff. And he'll just be in that trap his whole life. Like that's the guy that's getting broken up like 8 times in his life, and he went through major depression each time. Like it's rough.
Damn, Ian, tell us how you really feel about Mark.
Really psychoanalyzing this one.
Yeah, it's like you put a lot of thought into Mark specifically.
Well, maybe
Mark is your character, the one you relate to, and you're like, this
poor
guy doesn't know how bad it's coming for him.
Honestly, though, I do understand kind of where Mark's coming from as I've gotten older. I mean, when I was 12, I didn't get Mark, but at 38, I get Mark. Like I get that the chasing the impossible, trying to aim higher than where, how do I word it? It's like, who he was chasing is a 7 and Mark's a 4. Like it just doesn't work. A 5 can be with a 6. A 7 can maybe go down to, a 5, but a 4 cannot be with an 8. It just doesn't work.
Well, if you love Guar, then Mark's an 11. So I don't know what else
Mark,
to say.
AJ. That's AJ. Yeah.
AJ. Oh, fucking AJ's too goddamn handsome. Are you kidding me? AJ got
Mark.
AJ
Mark,
didn't even need to graduate art school. He just got paid to be a fucking handsome face.
Yeah, true.
He's a sunglasses model or something. I don't know.
That's what I meant was
AJ.
It's very uninteresting.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, yeah, he's kind of a cliche. He's got he's an artist and he loves the girl, and there's not that much more to him other than they raise the rent at his apartment, They don't explore too much of him, I guess. I don't know. I feel like
there's so many you can. And Mauritania, her character was so fascinating, and the fight between her and Renee Zellweger. When Renee Zellweger, that's the part I remember a lot from this movie. When Renee Zellweger, the nothing's fine. Whenever somebody says fine, that moment pops in my head. Of her just screaming like nothing is fine. Like,
that's Liv Tyler who screams that. Renee Zellweger has the perfect thing before your perfect school and your perfect father and your perfect future. You're perfect. Yeah.
That's what I said.
Liv Tyler freaks out and is it's gonna be fine. Like nothing's ever fine. And, boy, that store sees some shit that day. Like 2 emotional breakdowns, a theft of $9,000, a theft of CDs, a gun shooting incident,
Rex Manning,
the party, facing Music Town forever, and that's just a perfect through line for the movie. The impending doom of Music Town, and it was so perfect for the day. Ironically, Ian wanted to call this episode Empire Records 2 Empire Strikes Back, to which Sean Gold of Gold's Codes says in the live chat as well.
I said Empire Records Strikes Back. That's what I said it should have been.
Well, you got to have the number 2 in there so people know.
No, just Empire Records Strikes Back.
Well, I didn't want to confuse the people. There's also actually some love for this movie having connection to That Thing You Do with both Liv Tyler and Ethan Embry being in that movie.
True.
A lot of casting things like that, like Rory Cochrane and the guy who plays Eddie are both in Dazed and Confused. Renee Zellweger's briefly in Dazed and Confused. So Amy Wilkins also says Mark is a secret genius, could be an A&R guy. That is not off base at all, Amy. Good point. Amy coming in out of nowhere and just crushing this live chat today. Thank you so much again. I really, as a fan, I have to believe in a good future for all these people. Like, I love this movie too much not to. yes, I get it. One of them's suicidal. Another one's aimlessly eating pop brownies. Another one's a hopeless romantic following his girlfriend to a city that is pretty far away from Atlantic City. But again, I want to believe that good things happen to all of them, but they have enough flaws in their lives to come together for one more day and heal what needs to be healed. And the power of love and friendship is just a thing to get them there. And just like that,
life's a bowl of cherries butts.
There, that's a perfect way, thank you, Ian, of wrapping up my long never-ending speeches, as they always are. But we are just about out of time, folks, unless there's anything else you guys want to plug into your Empire Records sequel, anything that we left off the table. I mean, I feel like we addressed most of the cast. So that being said, is there anything coming up on the Spooky Picture Show, or I'm Still Fabulous, or B-Movie Challenge that you guys want to let the people at home know about?
Well, Spooky Picture Show last week, we did drop a new episode all about basically talking about what was that episode about?
Was it bad remakes?
Oh, yes. It was about movies that we wish would be remade.
Ooh, spicy.
Ian knows the podcast better than I do, so.
Well, I hope Garbage Pail Kids made the list because I haven't listened to that one yet. But
yeah, it didn't come up.
It's rife with potential, and it was very flawed in its original inception. Well, definitely be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Spooky Picture Show, people. Bobby, what's in the works for I'm Still Fabulous?
3 episodes have been filmed. Next episode's being filmed next week. I'm interviewing Darren Stein, the director of Jawbreaker.
Oh, cool.
And then after that, I got 12 packs.
Very misunderstood movie.
Oh, Bobby's been crushing it with the Daisy of Love, Rock of Love people. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I got a 12-pack from I Love New York and Daisy of Love. He was in that one too. So,
oh man, I love it.
They're just sliding to the DMs asking, and they just say yes. So why not?
Making my VH1 dreams come true. Ian, what's on deck for B-Movie Challenge?
Well, we just released an article of the Roger Corman Sputnik Russians Are Coming Fear Fest War of the Satellites.
You sick man.
What? Why? Why?
I'm joking.
I'm
joking.
I love Roger Corman. But yes, no, if you ever wanted to know what it was like to go up into space on a St. Louis lounge chair that slides back with your feet up in the air, you can watch War of Satellites and it'll make your day.
Can't say I ever wondered such a thing, but
I was just thinking, I was wondering that today 3 times already.
Now you know.
This hour. Well, that being the case, you Fandom fans might want to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when the VCR scribes its 100th sequel and discovers
100 people.
That's right. Not only are we pitching our 100th sequel, but we are going to discover the power of glove for our 1989's The Wizard episode. Yes, that is the one with Fred Savage and the Power Glove.
Good.
And I know you are all as excited as I am. Send me an angel because next week is going to be fucking incredible. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow the Spooky Picture Show. Follow the Spooky Picture Show, Fandom, Spotlite, the Hollow Knight Network, and Pop Culture Punk. And keep your eyes and ears on the lookout for I'm Still Fabulous because it's coming fast and furious. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.